I thought Jeremy's speech was inspirational, one of the best speeches I've heard at a Labour Party conference for many, many years. And I think coupled with John McDonnell's speech yesterday, which was excellent, there's a new feel, and you can sense in the conference hall that people are delighted that there is something different on offer. So yeah, a feel-good factor all round.
What is the pitch to the people who voted Tory in the election, who Labour need to get back if they're ever to get back to power?
Well, I think the general pitch was one of straight-talking, honest politics. I think politicians, their credibility is not particularly high in the public opinion, and I think what Jeremy's done is a great service to all politicians. He's trying to bring integrity back into politics, and so this is a process. This is new. How many times have we heard on the doorstep that they're all the same, they all look the same, they all speak the same, they all put forward the same policies? And I think what you're beginning to see now is something new, something fresh, an alternative.
But it is interesting that you say that, because some people have listened to the speech and listened to the conference so far and have just slightly felt that it's the party talking to itself rather than talking to the country outside. Well, and you're saying you don't believe that?
No, I think there's an element of inevitability about that. Jeremy's just won an incredible election. I've been a member of the Labour Party for 45 years. I've never seen anything like it. All of us have got to take a step back and recognise that something's changing and take it from there together.
Winning must matter to you and your members. Trade union bill, you don't like that.
Yeah.
Intervention in Redcar, a crisis, an industrial crisis in Redcar on Teesside at the moment. There's no intervention. You want intervention.
No.
If you had won the last election,
yes,
you would have got closer to your way.
Yes, I mean, there's no doubt that power matters. Now, it's the big argument about power without principle means nothing, but principles without power. So that's the challenge that Jeremy now faces. Myself personally, I've always operated on the basis of principle pragmatism. You have core principles that you should never move away from, but you have to be sufficiently pragmatic to respond to the given situation that you find yourselves in, and that's the challenge. How can you win Scottish working class voters back to Labour whilst at the same time attracting Tory working class voters on the south coast and the home counties? It's a huge challenge, but I feel optimistic. I feel optimistic for the first time.
Well, no, you felt optimistic before the general election as well, didn't you? You thought you were going to win that.
Well, I really feel optimistic this time.
More optimistic.
I feel more optimistic.
You used the phrase principled pragmatism. John McConnell used the phrase, McDonnell used the phrase pragmatic idealism, I think was his, or was it idealism, pragmatism?
Yeah.
He used a similar phrase. Are we seeing at this conference, help me out here, are we seeing what was a very ideological leadership campaign for Jeremy Corbyn morph into something a little bit more mainstream and a little bit more pragmatic?
I think we're perhaps seeing a recognition by both Jeremy and John that they are now leaders of a political party. I mean, when you're an individual MP, and Jeremy's been an individual MP for 30 years, and he's been able to effectively vote in accordance with his conscience, and he's always been an incredibly principled guy in that sense. When you become a leader, things have to change. I myself, for example, have been a unilateralist all my life, but as soon as I became General Secretary of Unite, that finished, because my responsibility is to my members and my union's policy.
So you dropped your principles and you stuck with what the voting members need?
I moved into the pragmatic arena that if I wanted to be leader of my union, I had to understand the different demands from the different sections, and I think Jeremy will begin to grow into that position, and you say morph, Evan, into, yeah, maybe that is what's happening, and he's only been in for a fortnight, so let's give him a little bit more time.
Let's suppose he leads Labour into the next election, and let's suppose it does not go well and he doesn't win the next election. Mm-hmm. Will you then accept Labour needs to be a different party and move perhaps back to the right, and that socialism is not a way to win elections in Britain? Or will you be saying, we didn't try hard enough, it wasn't pure enough, it was the right argument but the wrong guy, all these kinds of things you hear every time there's a left-wing attempt?
Evan, I promise you, in 5 years' time, come and ask me that question and I'll give you the answer.
Len McCluskey, thank you very much.